Right then, lads and lasses, how we're doing, and welcome back to the channel. Newcastle United versus Manchester United in the Carabao Cup. A very, very anticipated game. A bit of revenge from Newcastle United. Of course, the two finalists in last year's Carabao Cup meet now, but only one team can progress into round 5. Of course, both of us have met in round 4 this year, and yet again, a bit of revenge from Newcastle United, but it could just be that extra bit of bittersweetness from Newcastle, as Newcastle and Manchester United, whether they like to admit it or not, we are rivals. Let's be real. Man United, they might think they're light years ahead of us because they've got this global fan base, but on footballing terms, we are probably better than them. Of course, they finished above us last season. What was it, on goal difference or a point or whatever it was? But we are such a better team than them, man. If something goes wrong at Manchester United, it goes wrong. The fans are on your back. Absolutely everything goes wrong. For Newcastle United, we are united. We are the proper fan base that stick by our team. We sell out everywhere. Of course, Man United do as well. But we sell out with passion and integrity, not just to watch a football game for 90 minutes. Now, of course, Newcastle United and Manchester United have had their bad blood, shall we say, in the past. In the Kevin Keegan days, we lost the title to them, but it's all coming back now. The mastermind in Eric Ten Hag is what Manchester United fans like to call him, a mastermind, a tactician, his fantastic manager. Let's take a look at Manchester United's form this season, heading into this Carabao Cup fixture. Now, of course, to get into round 4, they beat Crystal Palace pretty easily, as they should, 3-0 at home. And I'm sure I've seen some tweet that said Man United have had the past 13 Carabao Cup home fixtures, or even including FA Cup, at home, sorry. Like, the odds were that for, like, they were absolutely mental. Honestly, the odds for that were unreal. But of course, Newcastle United in the Carabao Cup would beat Manchester City. And if they put the whole mind to it, if they actually prioritise this competition, they are winning it. So, you know, we've beat the favourites already. After that, of course, it would be Newcastle United, Liverpool, Arsenal, Man United, unfortunately, to win this. But I don't believe Man United will win it, even if they do beat us. But let's get into some more of Manchester United's results this season, and they haven't been too great. They sit third. Yes, you heard that correctly. Third in the Champions League group, in a group which contains Bayern Munich, fair enough, the better team by miles in that group, Copenhagen, and Galatasaray. Now, of course, Galatasaray, the Turkish outfit, sit above Manchester United as they beat them 3-2 in their own back garden. It's not great for Manchester United this season whatsoever. Now, I'm not extremely happy on their demise, but it's just some of the fans which like get a bit ahead of themselves on social media. It does make us a little bit happy, but yet again, I'm not that sort of fan that likes rubbing salt in the wounds of certain teams, because there is very loyal fans out there. Of course, in the Premier League, Manchester United sit, where is it? Manchester United sit 8th in the Premier League, 5 losses and 5 wins. And 2 of them losses, one coming against Crystal Palace at home, getting beaten in their own backyard, and one coming against Brighton at home, getting beaten in their own backyard. So, being at Old Trafford is something that Newcastle do not need to fear whatsoever. But one thing I would like to state, which I stick by 100%, unfortunately, is that when Newcastle United, and we'll use Man United as an example here, we play these big names like Man United, like Chelsea. Of course, we beat Arsenal last season, but Man City, I don't know if it's just we show a bit of respect, or we just fall under the occasion of playing a big team. Of course, at Wembley, we fell under the occasion and we just seemed to crumble because we didn't play terrible, but yet again, we just didn't have... We were sort of a blunt knife, shall we say. But when we're pleased, of course, Chelsea last season, we only beat them 1-0 at home. We drew 1-1 at Stamford Bridge, and they were terrible last season. We probably should have beat them at Stamford Bridge. Of course, we had nothing to play for. We were playing Lewis Miley. Respectively, of course, he's not a first-team player, is he? But I think when we play these names, we're sort of... I don't want to say we're falling under pressure, but we're sort... I don't know if they turn up more, or we just... yet again, fall under the occasion of playing a big team at Old Trafford, because, of course, last season, what was it? Was it 0-0? And Joe Linton hit the post twice. Absolutely mental. But I do think that Newcastle United don't seem to turn up in these occasions where Man United is our rival, and we need to turn up in these occasions. If you know what I mean, if you agree, do let us know. The thing is with Manchester United, they'll do good and then they'll do bad. They are a very inconsistent team this season, and what needs to be questioned about them is their buys. And not just the buys, but how much they've bought them for. Mason Mount, a player who, respectively, I've never ever rated, and I've been quite fondly about that on social media. I don't believe Mason Mount... Yes, of course, he's a good player. I mean, he's a Premier League player who's done it for Chelsea. He's won the Champions League. But I don't believe he's a £70 million player. £70 million. Wow. It blows my mind. Casemiro, of course, a lot of money. Anthony. £90 million. Anthony. Harry Maguire. These are just blowing my mind. And we don't even remember some of the names like Angel Di Maria. Of course, they were in the past, of course. Anthony Martial. There's so many more to get onto. But Anthony, for me, He is an embarrassment to Manchester United Football Club. Did you see the way he went on with Jeremy Doku yesterday? If you follow me on X, you would have seen it yourself. What on earth was he doing? That is a disgrace to not only Manchester United, but the fans who are there. He's showing them up. You're losing 3-0 in your local rivals derby, and you're just booting Jeremy Doku for no absolute reason. Never mind, is he a footballer? He's a person as well. Who do you think you are, just to lash out on another player like that? It's an embarrassment to the fans, and I hope the fans really get on his back for that, because that is not how you get bought for 90 million. You barely score any goals. You barely create anything for your team. You just do these fidget spinner spins, and you don't show any passion for your fans. Like, Man United want to get right on his back, and you can't just be a baby and chuck your toys out of the pram. So hopefully they can get that sorted. Although I don't particularly love Man United, it's not great seeing a player who you've just bought absolutely tons of money for, and he's not doing anything for your league. Seriously, they need to sort that out. As for the sort of positives we could say for Man United, I mean, there's not many at this current moment right now. Scott McTominay on absolute fire. Of course, he's been linked with Newcastle United plenty of times. Would I take him under Eddie Howe? Look, this is one thing I'll say, and I'll remind myself to say this every single time. I will never slate an Eddie Howe signing. Everything he's done has been absolutely perfect. Anthony Gordon slated in his first season, rightly so. I mean, I didn't ever say a bad word about him, and I can stick by that hand on my heart. But he didn't have the greatest performances for Newcastle United, shall we say. He looked a bit under the weather. He didn't look the most confident, but yet again, he's turned into an absolute monster this season. Had an off game against Wolves, but still, bar none, our best player this season, in my opinion. Guns for every single ball. He's determined to win everything back, and you can just see him when he's pumping up the crowd like that. He's so passionate. He is a Newcastle United player. He sums up Newcastle United. But as for Casemiro as well, a world-class player, in my opinion. When he's on top of his game, he's not the most consistent, but yet again, when he's on top of his game. He did miss the Manchester derby yesterday, but Casemiro is a player which we do want to be quite scared of. Yet again, Scott McTominay, fair enough, he's a goal scorer, isn't he? But I can just see this being a game where Newcastle United batter Manchester United, and Scott McTominay goes and get a goal in the 90-plus minute and wins 1-0. It's just such a Man United and Newcastle counter thing to do. Now, of course, Newcastle United are absolutely riddled with injuries going into this game. Alexander Isak probably still out. Sven Botman probably still out. Tonali, of course, out. Elliot Anderson out. Jacob Murphy out. Our midfield three is probably going to consist of Bruno, Joelinton, Willock and Longstaff. Bruno looks absolutely knackered. Would I play him? It's up to Eddie Howe. We know Eddie Howe, for some reason, right, he's done this with Joelinton and Isaac, and I don't know if he has done this, of course, but it kind of seems like it to me. He definitely done it with Joelinton at one time. Joelinton just come back from injury, bring him on, 2 minutes later, he's got injured. Like, I think that was in a game where we're winning. I can't remember exactly the game, but we were winning in that game. There was no need to bring him on. Of course, someone might have got tired. We never know. Eddie Howe was a manager I'll never, ever question. But yet again, if it's rushing these players back in for no apparent reason, like Alexander Isak against Dortmund, I think before playing it against Palace, he didn't train off the Newcastle side. Like, just give them time, do you know what I mean? I don't want to be and question Eddie Howe, because he is our Lord and Saviour. Seriously, he has changed this club for the absolute better, and if there's ever a man I respected, it would be Eddie Howe. Do you know what I mean? He's changed our life, not our football club, our life. But yeah, like I was saying, we are riddled with injuries. Are we going to play a weaker side? I do believe so, and two players which you can probably guess are going to feature for Newcastle United, Valentino Livramento and Lewis Hall. Both of them should be involved in this game. Haven't seen too much of Lewis Hall, of course. Was he, what was it? Now, near enough 15 minutes of him against Sheffield United. 30 come on in the 81st minute, and then it was 6 of at a time. Tino Livramento, 20 minutes against Palace, was it? I can't exactly remember. Of course, Tino Livramento had a man of the match performance against Man City in the Carabao Cup as well, so that could be something we are looking forward to as well. On my Instagram, I gave out a poll. I said, what's your starting lineup? Go and look at that on Instagram if you want to go and have a look as well. I mean, it's pretty interesting to see what you lot say. You'd rather Dan Burn play left back, in my opinion. If Lewis Hall isn't playing midfield or left wing, unfortunately, where we did see him play against Man City, do play him left back. Do you know what I mean? I think it's vital for Lewis Hall to start in this game. And for Chelsea, he done it against the big teams like Man City. So hopefully Lewis Hall, fingers crossed, can do it against these. Another thing which does worry me going into this game, though, is Callum Wilson. Unfortunately, we do know his extent of injuries in his hamstrings. He's not the fittest whatsoever. Not as if he's not fit, but of course he's just got such a bad injury record, shall we say, to put it the most respectful way. His injury record isn't the greatest whatsoever. Is he a fantastic striker, a fantastic classic Englishman goal scorer? 100% he is. I do believe we will need another striker in January, whether it's on loan, because, come on, if Alexander Isak's out and we're relying on Callum Wilson like we are now to play 5 games without Alexander Isak, without any rotation, what's that, 9, 18, 27, 36, in a minimum of 450 minutes, never even added time, it's going to look extremely bad for Callum Wilson's injury record. And if he's out and Alexander Isak's out, what do we do? Yeah, Gordon's going to have to play up top, isn't he? And it's not something we want to see whatsoever. He's not the bagsman. Of course, he's a fantastic player, but can he do it up top? It's a bit of a shame. It's a bit of a shame. People's also been saying for Martin Dubravka to play in goal. I mean, I don't know why. Martin Dubravka in Manchester United in the Carabao Cup is something which we don't particularly tend to like. I mean, why on earth he went on loan to Manchester United, I will not know. And then, of course, he got cup tied for the final for playing in Manchester United in the Carabao Cup. What a conundrum that was. And he actually got a Man United winners medal. And something which I didn't like from Martin Dubravka, by the way. I'm sure, if one of you could remind me, that would be fantastic. But I'm sure he put something on his Instagram like, this fantastic... Oh, it was something... It kind of belittled Newcastle United, but it also kind of bigged up Manchester United as well. I'm not saying don't big up the team you're playing for, but yet again, I think it kind of did belittle Newcastle at the same time. I can't remember exactly what that was. I'm sure it was something along the lines of, so happy to play for this... What's that ice cream man doing, man? How I'm in the middle of a video. But nevertheless, away from whatever Martin Dubravka was on about, is the start 11. You let me know if you agree or if you would change any to make it a little bit simpler. In goal, Nick Pope, can't really go wrong. I mean, his shot stopping is second. I think his shot stopping is the best in the league. Of course, his distribution is an all-round goalkeeper and an all-round footballer. Kind of brings his goalkeeping all-togetherness down, doesn't it? Left back, do you know what? I'd probably go Matthew Targett, and this is why. Just listen. I'd probably go Matthew Targett there. Give Big Dan Burn a rest. Give his all for Newcastle United. If we need to bring him on 100%. Left centre back, Fabian Shaw. Yes, I will play Fabian Shaw. If not, play Paul Dummett. Right centre back, Jamal Lascelles. Right back, no questions, probably one of the first names on the team sheet. In this game, Valentino Livramento, young lad, needs the game time. Performed fantastically against Manchester City, and it's his time to step up as well. And I can't wait for him to start because he was absolutely unbelievable. Now, in the pivot, if we are going to play a pivot without Bruno, I don't actually know. Should we play Bruno? Is he too tired? Look, if we don't play Bruno, let's take Bruno out of the equation. If we don't play Bruno, who are we going to put in that pivot? Would it be Joe Linton? Would it be Sean Longstaff? I think without Bruno, he's just going to play a flat three. I do not know. But if he is going to do that, left centre mid, Lewis Hall, yet again, needs game time. Young lad. Of course, they are for the future as well. But it would be fantastic getting game time, especially in this team as well at Old Trafford. Be a great experience for him as well. He's got, what is it now? 9... I think he had 8 with Chelsea, and I think this is his 9th senior cap. I don't have a clue. That's off the top of my head. In the centre of midfield, Joe Linton. Right centre mid, Sean Longstaff. Or unless you want to play Joe Willock instead of Joe Linton, give him a little bit of a rest as well, because he hasn't looked 100% for Newcastle United. Right wing, Miguel Almiron. Striker, Callum Wilson. Left wing, Mr. Anthony Gordon. That is the lineup for me. You let me know if you would change it. But yet again, can Newcastle United win this game? I think it's going to be a tale of like when England plays Scotland. Of course, England are miles better than Scotland, but it's that rivalry factor, isn't it? And Scotland always give it big to England, and I think it's just going to be one of them games, a very scrappy rivalry where the players fall under the occasion and all form goes out the window. But I'm going to give you a score prediction. And in the back of my head, I've got a scummy Manchester United 1-0 win from a Scott McTominay or a Diogo Dalot goal or something like that. But for a Newcastle United fan score prediction, I'm going to give you 2-1 Newcastle United. Actually, no. I'm going to give you 2-0 Newcastle United. I'm feeling confident. They probably will score, but I don't want to say it. 2-0 Newcastle United. If Joe Linton plays, I'd definitely back Joe Linton to score. And I'd back Callum Wilson to score as well, actually. Come on, at Old Trafford. 7,000 Geordies going down at 8:15 at night, midweek, for a cup game in round 4. Who else could do that? Come on, the Mags. You let me know your score prediction. I've been Geordie Josh. If you haven't already, hit that like and subscribe button. Go enjoy your day, you legends. Come on, the lads.